So let me ask you something. Are you that person that's spent half your life walking around with a notebook full of graph paper with half scribbled little dungeon ideas all over it and the names of evil demigods kind of scrawled on the margins? Maybe you have an idea for an amazing campaign for the role-playing game that you and your crew are currently playing, but you're having a hard time getting it past the sort of idea formation stage. Nothing is really coming together quite yet. Or maybe, like me, you are on your fifth decade of game mastering and the ideas for adventures are flowing in your brain all the time like a broken faucet that you can never turn off, and so you spend all of your time thinking about adventure ideas when you should be considering the well-being of your loved ones. I mean, really, I think about this shit all the time. If any of the above are true of you, then this is the YouTube channel you should be looking at right now, because together, you and I are going to take those half-formed concepts and make something concrete and playable out of them that you will be proud to share with the people at your table, virtual or otherwise, or even share with the broader role-playing game community. So put aside your hyper-specific AI-generated porn and let's build an adventure together! Seriously though, I'm not one to kink shame, but there's some things that I just completely fail to understand. Like I looked up furries on the internet the other day just because I was curious, and really f***ed my life up for a week. Not to mention my browser history. My name is Dan, and thank you for joining me on RPG Adventure Hacks. And today we are going to start our process of taking your ideas and building them into something that you're really going to be proud of. We'll go step by step, all the way through the process. We'll see what works, what doesn't, and I will build my own adventure in real time alongside yours so that I have an example of all of the concepts that I'm going to try and talk about. So let's begin with a basic plot. Good place to start. Maybe you don't have the whole thing put together yet, but you've got a starting point, and maybe that starting point is a villain. Let's think about them. What do they want to do? What are they trying to protect? What is it about that particular stat block that you found in the menagerie that you are completely fascinated and compelled by that makes you want to build an adventure around this entity? What is it that pulls you in? There's something about this creature, this person, this thing that speaks to you of story, that starts to build a narrative just by being what it is. So what is it? Or you could start with an intriguing environment. A couple of years ago, I had the sort of misfortune, I don't know, maybe it was a blessing, to walk through a forest that had recently been burned in a fire. It was adjacent to a park that had just been reopened, and the whole forest was still blackened, and the soot was all over the ground, and it was early morning. The light was coming through the trees, pale, creepy mist rising from the forest floor. It was otherworldly and compelling, and it made me want to write an adventure. All I could think about as we moved through the forest was, what's lurking out there in the fog? What is it about a burned landscape, a place that is ruined and destroyed, that feels so haunting and starts to generate story ideas? What created this blighted landscape? The adventure that I wrote about that place is called Shade of the Scorched Wood. From that burned forest, enough ideas grew forth that I could build a full story about it. It's actually, like kind of a chunky adventure, like 60, 70 pages, lots of interesting new monsters, lots of compelling plot details, and it's got a nice modular design. We'll get into all that shit later. It is available at rpgnow.com and of course at my website, rpgadventurehacks.com. And you have probably been somewhere that moves you in the same way. Maybe you were visiting an ancient ruin. Maybe it's just a deserted building somewhere near where you work. Maybe it is a pockmarked parking lot behind a Walmart that just somehow speaks to you of the desolation of the human spirit. I don't fucking know. But what I do know is that somewhere out there is a place that you think would be awesome for an adventure. What is that place? What is unique about its weird little ecosystem? And what might be disturbing that ecosystem? Something is wrong in the place that you are imagining, and I want to know what that is. Or maybe you're thinking about some particular kind of narrative mechanic that might unfold into a full-fledged adventure, something like, I don't know, an undead uprising, or maybe you want to write an adventure about player characters that have to escape from Shacklesburg prison and clear their good names, or maybe they need to stop Duke Umbermuck from committing some kind of gruesome ritual and summoning the Star Swallower, or whatever. Or maybe your player characters need to find and destroy the veggie corn dog that has been haunting the perimeter of the Minnesota State Fair. As for me, I am going with option number one, and I'm going to start with a villain. I will admit that I've been kind of thinking about this villain somewhere in the back of my mind, on and off, for quite a while. I'm going to start with the Badlands Hag. And why? Why would I write an adventure about the Badlands Hag? Well, I fucking love me some hags. And here's why. A hag is a clever adversary with the capacity to create plans that unfold over long narrative arcs. A hag is tough. She has a lot of different tactical options available. She can cast a few spells. She can hit like a truck. She's unpredictable, and that makes her interesting. A hag has the means and the motivation to recruit a wide variety of interesting henchmen and lieutenants. And of course, perhaps most importantly, hags eat hair. I mean, it doesn't say anything in the stat block, in the menagerie or the manual or whatever about the hags eating hair, but in my personal world, the hags love the taste of human hair. They are deeply compelled by it. It is an appetite that borders on the obscene, and they are willing to put a lot of plans in jeopardy in order to obtain a delicious sample of top quality humanoid hair. I know it's a little off, but I won't apologize for them. I will apologize for me though, because Well, that is going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and please do go ahead and like the video. You know where that button is, and subscribe to the channel so that we can go on this adventure design journey together. I think it's going to be really cool, and I want to see the kind of stuff that you guys come up with. If you would like to listen to RPG Adventure Hacks as a podcast, you can do that on Spotify or on the podcast app of your choice. And please go by rpgadventurehacks.com, rpgadventurehacks.com. That's a lot of letters. And you can see all the stuff that I've been working on when I should be sleeping at night. But that sounded kind of weird. It's not really the way I meant it, but, well, is it? And listen, if the world feels a little extreme and dark right now, then maybe the best thing for you to do is to retreat into an even more extreme and even darker dungeon and start crawling. And by the way, I'm not real big on AI-generated arts, but this shit right here is exactly what AI is good for. All right, see you later.